Hello, welcome to Beginner Basics with Marley Bird. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to do a basic granny square. Now, the granny square is the staple of the crochet world. Just as the mitered square is the knitting world, crocheters love their granny squares. It is a great introduction to the way motif construction is made. It shows you how to begin with chain stitches and join to work in the round, and then I will show you how to increase at corners so that you can actually get a square instead of working in a circle. As I mentioned, working in the round. All working in the round means is that instead of turning our work and working back and forth on our crochet, we're going to work our stitches completely around the circle of what we're creating, or in this case, a square, and we will not have to create a front and back. It will just be around and around and around and around. We're going to create in the round granny squares. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do a basic granny square, and what it all boils down to is the way you begin and finish the granny square, or whether you're going to join yarn, where you're going to join the yarn as far as joining a new color. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how I like to do my own granny squares. I think it's the easiest way. It puts your hook and your yarn, your loop on your hook in the right place to start the next round without having to cut and rejoin unless you're going to change colors. So let's look down here and I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to pull in some sample granny squares, and the thing is, both of these granny squares are constructed the exact same way, and the reason one is smaller than the other is that on this one I just didn't go around one extra round. So I did that on purpose to show you that you get to really customize the size of your granny squares just by the extra rounds that you do. If I were to set the smaller one on top of the bigger one, you can see it's just one extra round size bigger than the small one. So you can make granny squares as small as these 4 petals, so to speak, right there, or as wide as you want. Little story, the first granny square I ever made, I didn't understand how to do these corner edges, so my center part just puckered up like that, and it looked very obscene. It was not very good. So there were not YouTube videos out there for me to learn how to do a granny square, so I'm grateful that I get to be here to help you learn how to do it. So let's get started. I'm going to scooch those out of the way. Today I'm going to use Lion Brand Heartland yarn. It's a worsted weight acrylic, and I'm using a 6mm crochet hook. I'm going to begin with a slip knot, and if you need instructions on how to do a slip knot, there's a video in the beginner basics section to help you out with that. And I'm going to start off with a chain 4. So I'm going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in the instructions it will read to join with a slip knot into the first chain. So I'm going to come all the way back here to the very first chain I completed. I'm going to put my hook in. I'm going to yarn over and then pull through the chain, and I'm going to pull through the loop that's on my hook. Now you'll notice I was holding on to the base chains here. There's a center right there. That's the center of my ring that I've created now. And that's what we're going to be working into for this part. I'm going to begin with the chain 3, and this chain 3 is going to represent a double crochet. So we are going to count it as a stitch. Because we're going to count it as a stitch, I'm going to add a stitch marker. I'm going to put a stitch marker at the top of this chain 3, which is actually the chain right below my hook. So that way I know when I get back around, that's where I'm going to want to join, okay? So I have my chain 3. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to go right into that hole, that ring that I've created right in the center, and create a double crochet. If you need a refresher on double crochet, you can check out the videos for double crochet because I've put all that together in a video for you. Fancy that, I've thought through it all right. Once we have our 2 double crochets, we have our chain 3, we've put 2 double crochets, and I'm going to chain 1. Now I'm going to do 3 double crochets over here. The reason I'm doing 3 now is because on the original one we just did, my chain 3 counts as a double crochet, so technically it has 3 double crochets as well. So this 3 double crochets right now is not an anomaly. So I have my chains, 2 doubles, a chain 1, 3 doubles. I'm going to do that 2 more times. So I'm going to chain 1, yarn over, I'm going to put 3 double crochets in here. If you think of these 3 double crochets as the beginning petal, the beginning bud to the 4 corners of our granny square, it might be very helpful to think through that. I'm going to chain 1. This is my last set of 4. There's 1, 2, 3, not set of 4, I'm sorry. Last set of 3 doubles to create my 4 petals. Now I'm going to come over here to this chain that I have marked already. I'm going to put my hook in, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull that right on through. Okay? So that's how I would join if I were working in the round and I just wanted to join with a chain 1 and a join with a slip stitch. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to undo my slip stitch, undo my chain 1. Now I'm here. Because I want my hook to end up in a chain 1 space, and it's going to end up being, as I pull this in so I can show you, my hook is going to end up ending right here in this chain 1 space in the corner all the way up. What I want to do is, instead of doing a chain 1 and then the slip stitch, I'm going to put my hook into that stitch, pull up a loop, and I'm going to create a single crochet. So what I've done now is I've created this little bit of section here, this join, which normally would have been my chain 1. I've created the single crochet. But see where my loop is? It's right here in the center. So I can start now with I'm going to start with chain 3, and that's going to count as a double. So at this point, I'm going to move my marker up, because I know that's the end of my round. And fasten it off. Move my marker up, yarn over, and working into and around the single crochet I just completed, I'm going to create 2 more double crochets. Okay? So there's 1, split the yarn, and there's 2. Then I chain 1, and I'm going to come over here to the next chain 1 space, and in this one, because I'm building the corners, I'm building it at this point on to build the squares, I'm going to put 2 sets of 3 double crochets in this corner. So if I figure this is one side of my square, I'm going to chain 1, that's my corner stitch, and now I've got to put my 3 double crochets for this side of the square. So I'm going in the exact same chain 1 space, and I'm completing 3 double crochets in the same space. I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. So we have our chain 3, 2 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to do the exact same thing as I did right here in this corner. See how that starts to build the corners for me? So I'm going to put the 3 double crochets, 2, 3, chain 1, I'm going to put 3 more. You'll notice I'm just kind of rotating my original motif, my original center petals around as I'm working this. Chain 1, and I've got to do that one more time over here in this 4th corner. So 1, 2, 3, chain 1, I'm going to do 3 again. Ooh, my tail's getting in the way. Got to tuck that away. So here's 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Now I'm back to where my original chain 3, 2 double crochets were, and so I need to complete this corner. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create my 3 double crochets in this corner. 1, 2, 3. And instead of doing a chain 1 and join with the slip stitch, I'm going to undo that chain 1, and I'm going to join with a single crochet. So that way my hook, once again, my loop and my hook is right here in this corner. So that's representing my chain 1 space. You continue on for as big as you want your granny square to be in this process. Now, having said all this, the thing that makes this particular granny square unique and the way I'm doing it is the way I'm joining. It's that single crochet join. If you come across granny squares that are not joined that way, they're joined with a slip stitch, and maybe you have to cut your yarn and rejoin other places, you can absolutely do that. That works. Just know that that means you're going to have a couple more tails to tuck in, but it's fine. Give it a whirl. As long as you can grasp the way the construction of the granny square is made, each time I go around, I'm putting 3 double crochets in my chain 1 space. And then when I get to my corner, so I put my 3 doubles, I chain 1, I get to my corner, and every time I'm in one of the corners, I do a set of 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and I chain 1, and then I do 3 more double crochets to create that corner. as long as you have that whole process kind of down in your head, you could follow other people's patterns and just change the way, don't do the join like I do it. Try it the way that they're showing you, because maybe it's a way that works better. As my channel grows and grows, I will try and add in maybe a couple of different methods to do granny squares. But because this is my favorite, I want to make sure that it is on the channel. You guys are seeing it, you're loving it, you're learning, because that's like one of my #1 goals. And once you learn the granny square, it's like, okay, I can do anything. You can use the granny square to make blankets. You can use the granny square to make dishcloths. You can use it to make heating or hot pads, like oven gloves or oven mitts. You know what I'm talking about? I guess they wouldn't be gloves or mitt if it's not but it's a pad. I don't know what else to call them. I call them hot pads. The other day I had a friend tell me, they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, a hot pad. You use it to get a hot pan out of the oven? I don't know what else to call it. Anyways, it's a good little thing. You could do many things with the granny square once you have this whole process down and can figure it out. So I'm going to set this down. I'm not all the way through yet, but I feel like you've got this down, right? We started right here in the center. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then when we got to the corner, we chained 3. Well, it's over here. We chained 3, and then we did 2 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles in our corner. So that started to build our corner. And then we did chain 1, 3 doubles, 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 and then I did a single crochet into the 3rd chain of the turning chain. Then I chained 3, 2 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles in the chain 1 from the row below, so on and so forth. With each round, I'm going to set this aside. With each round, you'll notice that the number of chain 1s in the outside of the piece increases. So, for example, this one is 1 round further than this round, okay? And so with this one I've just created, I have 1 chain 1 space and 2 chain 1 space. In this one, I have 1 chain 1 space, 2 chain 1 space, 3 chain 1 space. And if I did 1 round further, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 chain 1 spaces. So that's how this square gets bigger and bigger. If you forget to do these corner sections, that's when the square begins to pucker up and becomes really out of shape. So you don't want to do that. Make sure you have the corner pieces set up. I hope this helps you out when you try and tackle a granny square. If you have any questions, please make sure you leave a comment. You never know if there are other people watching this video that have the exact same question, and so it's easier for me to answer your question. You could be helping out lots of different people. If you found this information useful and other information on the site, please be sure to subscribe so that you're up to date whenever there's a new video released. Catch you later, guys.